stupid skeletons!
In the same way, Telly Death to us.
Wait, Scott, what are you doing? Scott!
Death
What are you doing?
I see you, Grian. No, I'm sorry, Grian. Oh, victory is mine.
Another season of the Life series draws near, and I've awoken to mooch off of Life series hype once again with 3 more fancy ideas for the 7th season. The difference, of course, is that this time there's a big old teaser to spoil most of the intrigue, assuming our Evo-themed suspicions are true. Nevertheless, I have 3 premises for you today. One is based off of one of my theories from the teaser, the other 2 are just for fun, kind of like the previous video. First, I wanted to recap everything Grian has said about the way he designs Life series, so we have an idea of what a real Life series straight from the grain mill might look like. My info comes from the Wildlife Recap on the Imbinskiz podcast, but I lost the timestamps for when he said these things, so I can't really show any clips. One of the big things he said was that he doesn't feel like each season has to be bigger and better than the previous one. In the wake of Wildlife's crazy complicated behind-the-scenes work, I feel like that has more to do with the mods and development than how exciting things are for us as the audience. However, that kind of debunks one theory I had about the teaser where the game version could go backwards instead of forwards, since it would be technically challenging enough to be considered bigger and better. Another thing he said is that he doesn't compare seasons to each other in order to come up with the next one, making it less likely that we'll ever see a Third Life Part 2, or an alternate version of an existing season like my Hunted Life and Rival Life designs. Furthermore, he said that he sees each season as its own experiment, so each season will push and test the members in a new and unique way. Anyway, let's get into the first premise for today. A theory I had from the teaser made note of the strange order of the hearts turning from red to green, instead of from green to red. My first premise, Inverse Life, is built on this idea. Everyone would start with 2 to 4 lives, but instead of 4 lives being dark green, 4 lives would be red, followed by yellow, green, and blue. Red lives would be able to kill reds, yellows, or greens like normal, but blues, everyone's final life, are able to kill other blues, but also greens and yellows. I kinda ran into a brick wall by trying to make a premise about starting on red, because the allure of the entire Life series is based on this rising action, rising stakes. Things start off slow, but as people get closer to true death, their actions become more drastic, and the ability of Reds to kill fuels that. When only the people with the least to fear have the power to kill, things get boring pretty quickly. So I knew I needed a way to have Reds at the start with the ability to kill, but I also needed people to be able to kill at the very end, so the series can have a real ending with excitement. My other idea for this involved some people starting on green like normal, while the other half started on red and went the opposite way. But I abandoned that idea since it sucked to be unable to kill anything during the finale, even though you had an exciting season start. I think Inverse Life is cool because it kind of bookends the series with murderers. So the people with the most to lose and the people with the most to gain have the power, leading to 2 very different types of violence. Turning away from teaser-related ideas, I thought I'd focus on specific aspects of the Life series to experiment with, starting with Snap Life, which aims to dramatically change the pacing of the Life series. The main change to the base system is that Reds don't always fail to respawn. It's only when all the greens on the server die that hardcore mode is enabled for Reds. However, Reds can also gain a life by killing a green. The pacing of a normal season of the Life series is very gradual. Some people's lives dwindle faster than others, but each death brings you incrementally closer to your demise. By delaying the risks until the last minute, every ounce of tension builds up for the final 1 or 2 sessions, giving Snap Life a very special pacing that couldn't be achieved otherwise. As the series goes on, Reds will compete with each other to take lives from greens so that they will have an advantage of being yellow when the last green falls. This of course also advances their own doom. I think that the result will be a kind of game of chicken between yellows and reds, trying not to be caught on red when respawning is disabled, suddenly upping the stakes and releasing all the tension in one violent snap. Anyway, before the next premise, if you're a small content creator who wants to join an SMP, then take a look at my upcoming one called Vesselcraft. More info will be in the video in the top right corner. I'll have another Life series variant also connected to Vesselcraft at some point in the future, so if you want to see that, then definitely subscribe. Now, on to the next premise. When coming up with this next premise, I thought to myself, what if I did everything in my power to divide everyone, to turn everyone against one another and put them back together again, to destroy every semblance of constancy? And the answer was Moonlife. Moon Life would be divided into 3 phases, each spanning 3 sessions, acting as mini life series themselves. At the start of each phase, everyone has 2 normal lives and 1 moon life. However, normal lives don't follow any pattern. Each life could be red, yellow, or green without affecting the color of the second normal life. Furthermore, greens and yellows cannot team up with either reds or moons. Moon lives die for good if they are still on their moon life when the current phase ends. However, they can gain a life by killing a green or yellow. After the third phase ends, the server sees the new moon, and all surviving members are set to their moon life. Every single aspect of Moon Life is designed to divide the series, both in the participating members and the viewing experience. Preventing reds and moons from teaming with yellows and greens is in a series where your color changes unpredictably breaks up alliances often, making people align based on current goals rather than lasting loyalty. Over the 3 phases, members will build up broken alliances, making people's actions entirely unpredictable. Since the season would be pretty long, at least 10 sessions, you could divide it even more by separating each phase by a few weeks, creating the feeling of coming back to something abandoned, starting again amongst the wreckages of the last phase's chaos. I'd imagine that each phase would start with everyone in a circle at spawn, as if they were coming on for the first time. I think it would create a very interesting atmosphere, but let me know what you think in the comments. One thing I wanted to address was the comments people leave on every video or short I make about my live series ideas, mentioning how Grian doesn't take fan suggestions, so that by sharing the idea, I'm just preventing a good idea from making it to the actual real live series. And it's a little annoying, so I thought I'd give my thoughts on it. For one, he probably wouldn't have come up with the same idea on his own, even if I hadn't talked about it. There are plenty of potential ideas just waiting to be thought up, so the chances of us coming up with the same one are pretty low. Secondly, he probably doesn't look through fan-made life series ideas, since he doesn't use them for inspiration, obviously, so it's very unlikely that he, 1, saw my video, and 2, went, well, I wish I would have thought of that. For my next point, not creating a life series similar to any fan-made life series, if that's even the specifics of what he meant by that, is a self-imposed restriction that I'm not responsible to uphold. The only thing I'm really responsible for is to stop using his branding if he asks me to. And lastly, the idea that I shouldn't share an idea that I'm passionate about because someone else could execute it better than I could, or in this imaginary situation is more deserving of that idea because they could put it to better use, is both depressing and basically defiles the spirit of creativity. So while I sympathize with you life series fans who are understandably disappointed that they'll never see the real life series crew in any of my ideas for the life series, please just give us smaller creators a chance, okay? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and I can't wait for season 7.